So, hello and welcome to the third installment of the Superhero Showdown. Now, this month's battle will actually be fought out between two of our greatest opponents yet. The Man of Steel facing off against the Golden Guardian. That's Superman versus the Sentry. Now, for some of you who aren't quite familiar with the Sentry, many consider him to be one of Marvel's closest characters to the actual Man of Steel, next to the Gladiator. But we'll get more to him in a little bit. Now, first up, we're going to talk about Superman. First up is Superman. Now, being the first superhero and probably one of the most popular superheroes of all time, Superman's story is timeless. So we'll skip all the backstory and all that boring stuff and let's jump right into his powers. Now, he has abilities, of course, like super strength, speed, durability, invulnerability, heat vision, heightened healing, flight. He has hurricane breath, and I think ice breath, super sight. That includes like X-ray vision and telescopic vision. Oh, he has like super senses as well, like hearing and smell. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that Superman's got a lot of powers. I mean, he's Superman. He wouldn't be Superman if he didn't have a lot of superpowers. So, now, superpowers aside, let's just stop and look at some of the things that Superman has under his belt. Now, during the Kingdom Come storyline that takes place in the future, Superman is hit by a nuclear bomb that wipes out all life around him. It flattens everything within about like a mile radius and everyone's killed. Superman is left unharmed for the most part. His cape's a little burnt, but other than that, he's doing pretty well. This is an example of his invulnerability. And while it is explained in this storyline that Superman's only this invulnerable because during this future timeline, due to global warming, it has only boosted Superman's powers because, as we all know, he is solar powered. Now, Superman's gone toe-to-toe with some pretty heavy hitters like Darkseid, Doomsday, even though that didn't end very well, Hyperion, and even the Hulk. Now, he has the muscle to pull off fights with heavy hitters like that, so maybe someone like the Sentry wouldn't be that new to him. Now, in terms of weaknesses, we all know that various forms of kryptonite are harmful to Superman, but so are certain forms of magic as well. But other than that, if memory serves, there's not many weaknesses he actually has that I can think of. Now, while it isn't necessarily canon, I feel like it's an important thing to note about just how powerful Superman can be. Now, during this alternate reality, far, far into the future, Superman spends 100 centuries at the core of a sun. Now, being solar-powered, this much exposure actually caused him to evolve, and he became something known as the Prime Superman. Now, when he evolved, he gained new powers, new abilities, stuff that he had never had before. He was able to create life from dying tissue. He was able to create full-blown planets with complete life on them as well. He was getting into fights with gods all the times and ultimately became very godlike himself, almost like Golden Dr. Manhattan. Now, I think that's probably all we're going to talk about Superman for now. Next up is the Sentry. Now, with the Sentry, the source of his powers come from a serum that's 100,000 times more powerful than the Super Soldier Serum given to Captain America. The serum itself was actually perfected by the Weapon X program, and although his abilities and powers and their limits aren't completely known, he has been shown to effortlessly defeat and break the axe of Terrax, who is a herald of Galactus. Terrax himself is actually so powerful that he's been able to actually slice planets in half. And if that's not badass enough, he's even defeated the female version of Ultron as well. Now, usually if Sentry really wants to deliver some damage to his opponents, he just rips them in half. He's killed Carnage this way. He took Carnage actually into orbit and ripped him in half. During the Dark Siege storyline, he gets into a fight with Ares, the god of war, and rips him in half too. I don't know why. He has a thing for ripping people in half. I don't know why. Now, in terms of powers, Sentry has powers like superhuman strength, agility, speed, reflexes, durability, stamina, super senses. He's invulnerable. He has energy projection. He can even put out like a field of like radiation around him that's actually been able to revert the transformation from Hulk back to Bruce Banner. He has flight, telepathy, resurrection. He can actually raise people from the dead. He has a healing factor as well as mental projection. Now, as I said before, the limits to his powers have never really been known. He has been able to fly to the sun and back within minutes, I guess, and he's even wiped the entire planet's worth of humans, like all their minds. He's wiped everyone's memory of him, including his own, and that's every person on the planet. So that's pretty badass. Now, with Sentry, it's often debated if he's actually immortal or not. He has been killed a few different times, and every time he's come back. And I know that it's comic books, people usually die and they come back maybe a few issues later or a year later, but he's been killed multiple times and he's come back from every one of them. Now, only recently he was killed by Thor during the Dark Siege storyline, and he hasn't been back yet, but the fact that Thor could kill somebody as powerful as a Sentry is pretty insane. Now, in a what if storyline that I was reading up on during Dark Siege, the story was what if Norman Osborn and his team had won and defeated Asgard and the other Avengers. Now, what I believe happened was Sentry actually goes nuts and kills all of the Avengers and all of the superheroes, and then ultimately his darker half, his villain in a way, and his greatest weakness, the Void, which is a dark entity that possesses itself as a split personality within the Sentry. It takes over and goes on a crazy killing spree throughout the universe. Now, the Sentry's greatest weakness is his own mind. He's almost always out of it, and he suffers from a split personality known as the Void, a dark form of himself that he's been battling with for years. Now, the very appearance of the Void sends a Sentry out of battle. He'll retreat from many of his fights, and it can actually make him quite a dangerous liability in the field. Now, during the Secret Invasion storyline, when the Avengers go to the Savage Land to confront their Skrull counterparts, the Sentry comes across the Void, and it's enough to send him into a panic. He freaks out and he takes off, leaving the Avengers in the dust. So having a weakness like that is kind of a big deal. It's enough to send you out of battle, to go into a crazy state. He doesn't know how to deal with it all the time, and it's something that he has been battling with for a long time. Now, the Sentry may have been one of the most powerful and dangerous characters in the Marvel Universe, but is he really a match for the likes of Superman? Head over to panelsmasherstudios.com, and there you can find the article where you can actually vote on this battle. The voting closes in a week, and a week after that I'll be posting the battle video. So stay tuned for more updates, and thanks for watching.